யாதும் உரே யாவரும் கேடீர்.
செம்மொழி வலையொலி யூடியூப் சேனல். இந்த சேனலின் மூலமாக, அந்த வலையொலியின் மூலமாக பல்வேறு தகவல்களை தினந்தோறும் நாங்கள் வழங்கி கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த நிலையில் முழுமையாக கண்டு பார்க்கலாம்.
The title of this paper is The Duties and Rights of Sangam Poets. As characterized by George Hart, Purananuru is primarily a treatise on kingship, and in many of its artistic pieces, well-languaged poets tell the kings what they should be, how they should act, how they should balance their responsibilities, how they should treat their subjects, how they should show their generosity, and even how they should live their personal lives. In some poems, on certain occasions, a few poets may flatter their patrons and speak ingratiatingly, but most of them are aware of the dignified role they have to play as custodians of the glorious culture and tradition of the age-old Tamil society. The relationship between a poet and a king was not always the formal relationship between a beggar and a giver, or between a recipient and a philanthropist, or even between an artist and a patron. It could rise to the level of a very close personal relationship, an intimacy of the type between Adiyaman and Avvayar, Pari and Kabilar, and Kopparinjodan and Pisrandayar. The last pair is still considered a supreme example of archetypal friendship, though they became friends without seeing each other. Kopparinjodan, starving himself to death in the right of Vadakiruttal, told his comrades to make a place for Pisrandayar, since he was certain that the latter would come and join them. Pisrandayar did come, and this unusual happening is celebrated in a poem by Pottiyar, who says that this would force one to wonder and wonder again and pass beyond wondering. Some of the reputed Sangam poets did not hesitate to counsel the kings and to admonish them whenever they went wrong. According to Purappurul Venba Malai, Sevi Ari Uru is meant for teaching the kings noble thoughts. Sevi Arai or Seviyari Uru is defined by Elamburanar as dinning into the ears of someone the lesson that it is one's duty to be restrained and humble in the midst of the elders. A number of verses in Purananuru tell the kings how they should conduct themselves. The king is asked to be conscious of his responsibility, to do everything to keep his land fertile, to patronize arts by liberally helping all artists, and to save the poor from poverty. Though he is praised for his victories, he is warned against indulging in too many wars and causing mindless destruction. When Solan Nalangadli besieged Urayur, ruled by his own brother Nedungilli, Kovur Kirar asked them not to make fools of themselves by fighting against each other. இரும்பனை வெண்தோடு மலைந்தோன் அல்லன், கடுஞ்சினை வேம்பின் தெரியலோன் அல்லன், நின்ன கண்ணியும் ஆர்மிடைந்தன்றே, நின்னோடு பொறுவோன் கண்ணியும் ஆர்மிடைந்தன்றே, ஒருவீர் தோற்பினும் தோற்பதும் குடியே, இருவீர் வேரல் இயற்கையும் அன்றே, அதனால் குடிப்பொருள் அன்று நும் செய்தி, கொடித்தேர் நும்மோர் நும்மோர் அன்ன வேந்தற்கு மெய்மலி உவகை செய்யும் இவ்விகலே. Your enemy doesn't wear the pale leaf of the great panai or a chaplet from the black branched bamboo tree. The garland you wear is dense with atti. The garland your foe wears is also the same. Even if one is defeated, it is a defeat for the entire clan. Nor is it possible for both to win. Your deed is not a matter of honor for your clan. This enmity will only induce in other kings with their chariots waving banners, side-splitting laughter. When Nedungilli hides himself inside Amur, when that city is besieged, he receives a stern rebuke from the same poet. இன்னாதம்ம இங்கு இனிது இருத்தல், துன்னமும் துப்பின் வயமான் தோன்றல், அறவை ஆயின் இனிதனத் திறத்தல், மறவை ஆயின் போரொடு திறத்தல், அறவையும் மறவையும் அல்லையாக திறவாது அடைத்த தின்னிலை கதவின் நீள் மதிலோடு சிறை ஒடுங்குதல், நாணுத்தகவுடைத்து இது காணுங்காலே. It says, together with their dark-skinned female herds, not having their bath in big tanks, not being fed on ghee-mixed rice rolled into balls, tuskers struggling to free themselves, bend their posts, sigh, shout like thunder, their hands sweeping the ground. Infants weep without milk. Women tie up their flower-lost hair for want of water. There are cries from well-built houses. Improper is your happy stay here, lord of a mighty horse, unequalled in strength. If you are virtuous, open the door, offering to fight. Being neither virtuous nor heroic, but hiding yourself in your own place behind the doors of a well-fortified fortress is, if we ponder over it, a shameful act. When Solan Kolamutrattu Tunjiya Kilivalavan tried to have the children of Malayaman crushed to death by elephants, Kovur Kizhar made a touching appeal to the heartless king and saved them. நீயே புறவின் அல்லல் அன்றியும் பிறவும் இடுக்கண் பலவும் விடுத்தோன் மருகனை, இவரே புலன் உழுது உண்மார் புன்கண் அஞ்சி தமது பகுத்துண்ணும் தன்னிழல் வாழ்நர் களிறுகண்டு அழூம் அழால் மறந்த புந்தலை சிறார் மன்று மருண்டு நோக்கி விருந்தில புன்கண் நோவுடையார் கேட்டனை ஆயின் நீ வேட்டது செய்மே. You are the descendant of one that relieved a dove's grief and removed many more miseries. These are the descendants of men who provided cool shade and shared their food with others, fearing the poverty of those who eat by ploughing the fields of knowledge. Seeing the elephant, these young children, who wearing their hair unoiled, have forgotten to weep, but are struck with a new fear at the sight of many. If you have fully listened to me, you may do as you like. When a poet named Ilantattan was mistaken for a spy by Nedungilli and was about to be killed. Kovur Kirar intervened and saved him by telling the king that a poet's innocent, harmless life is in no way inferior to a king's proud life. வள்ளியோர் படர்ந்து புள்ளின் போகி நெடிய எண்ணாது சுரம்பல கடந்து வடியா நாவின் வல்லாங்கு பாடி பெற்றது மகிழ்ந்து சுற்றம் அறுத்தி ஓம்பாது உண்டு கூம்பாது வீசி வரிசைக்கு வருந்தும் இப்பரிசில் வாழ்க்கை பிறர்க்கு தீது அறிந்தன்றோ இன்றே திறப்பட நன்னார் நாண அண்ணாந்து ஏகி ஆங்கு இனிது ஒழுகின் அல்லது ஓங்கு புகழ் மண் ஆள் செல்வம் எய்திய நும்மோர் அன்ன செம்மலும் உடைத்தே. These bards, looking for benevolent kings, go from place to place like birds, travel long ungrudgingly, sing to the best of their ability with their imperfect tongues, happily accept what is given, feed their flesh and blood, eat without saving and give without keeping. Does this hard life in search of alms do any harm to others but for its victories in poetic contests, its proud bearing, its delightful demeanor? It too has the grandeur of the life of kings of growing fame like you, who are endowed with the wealth of ruling the earth. A poet called Nari Veru Talayar tells his benefactor, a Chera king, எருமையன்ன கருங்கல் இடைதோறும் ஆனின் பறக்கும் யானைய முன்பின் கானக நாடனை நீயோ பெரும நீ ஓர் ஆகலின் நின் ஒன்று மொழிவல் அருளும் அன்பும் நீக்கி நீங்கா நிறையம் கொள்பவரோடு ஒன்றாது காவல் குழவி கொள்பவரின் ஓம்புமதி அளிதோ தானே அது பெறல் அருங்குறைத்தே. You are the ruler of a land in whose dense forest tuskers roam like a huge herd of cows amidst buffalo like dark stones. O Lord, since you are what you are, I have a word for you. Avoid those that go to an endless hell by being bereft of grace and love. Protect your people like those that tend their children. Reign of a nation is an act of benevolence not easy to win. Vellaikudi Naganar praises a Chola king to the skies but warns him against ignoring the farmers. மாறி பொய்ப்பினும் வாரி குன்றினும் இயற்கை அல்லன செயற்கையில் தோன்றினும் காவலர் பழிக்கும் இக்கண்ணகன் ஞாலம் அது நற்க அறிந்தனை ஆயின் நீயும் நொதுமலாளர் பொதுமொழி கொள்ளாது பகடு புறந்தருணர் பாரம் ஓம்பி குடிபுறம் தருகுவை ஆயின் நின் அடிபுறம் தருகுவர் அடங்காதோரே. In this world of dense earth, bordered by the sea, impregnable to the wind, domed by the sky, the cool Tamil land is owned by 3 kings that have drum-beating armies. Of these, yours is the real reign, my lord. Even if the hot-rayed sun rises in all 4 directions and the bright-rayed silver planet goes to the south, the cool, lovely Kaveri will, through its channels, feed with water all the fields where sugar canes with swaying nodes and dancing white flowers look like heaped lances. Yours is the real land, proud possessor of this wealthy place. Listen therefore as something that concerns you. when people pray for justice as if virtue itself were the judge, you humble and accessible are like the rain that pours where a drizzle is begged for. Your broad canopy that rivals the sky and dazzles the eyes and looks like a thick cloud in the midst of the vaulted heavens is not there to block the sun but to protect the grieving poor. Valavan with a pointed spear, the victory gained on the broad battlefield where groups of tuskers fight and lie scattered like pieces of the hollowed palmyra tree, when your warriors resist the onrushing army and laugh at the retreating backs, is due to the yield from the fields furrowed by the plowshare of your farmers. The world will blame kings if rains cease or the harvest declines or some harm is done by forces other than nature. If you have realized it well and ignoring those that spread baseless slanders, if you alleviate the poverty of farmers that care for the ploughing oxen and save the citizens from hunger, even foes will hail your feet. Madurai Marudhanayagam tells a Pandya king that though triumph grows out of the 4 divisions of an army, it is ultimately a king's pursuit of the high road of righteousness that is still the root cause of his victory. Kadinjinathu kolgalirum, kadalvariya kalimavum, nedum kodiya nimir therum, நெஞ்சுடைய புகழ் மறவரும் என நான்குடன் மாண்டதாயினும் மாண்ட அறநெறி முதற்றே அரசின் கொற்றம். Like the one eye on the lovely crescent shining forehead of the Lord with a stained throat, who from a big mountain bow and a snake string released a single arrow that ruined 3 forts and won the war for mighty gods, you Maran, wreath adorned, are the best of the 3 kings. A king's reign relies first on a just rule, though the 4 wings, indignant, murderous elephants, swift-footed, headstrong horses, tall chariots with huge flags, and strong-chested, war-loving soldiers may enhance its glory. Don't let your law bend for the wicked because they are yours, and don't do harm to the honest because they are others. Being endowed with the 3, the ferocious heroism of the sun, the softness of the cool moon, and the clouds' generosity, and helping the poor, may you live long, O dignified ruler, for many more years than the sands gathered together in heaps by mighty winds on the wide captivating shores of the sea, assailed by white-headed waves in Sendil, where the formidable whale forever lives.